now I'm going to ask you a question that I never dreamed of, but mental health. I hear more and more about this. I grew up I was born in 1963. I'm a lot older than you. And
not a lot, just 8 years, 9 years.
Well, yeah, but I remember in my day, fending for myself.
You didn't talk about it. No. Yeah.
You
It was
just
a bad thing.
you know you're weak. Get it done yourself. So I want to ask you your opinion. Do you think mental health has always been around, and for some reason it just now struck a chord in this time? You know, you had the 1600s, the 1700s, you had all this life, hundreds of years. And now the period that you and I live in now, everybody's like, man, this guy's.
Well, I think mental health's always been an issue. And I guess I would frame it up like this. Like, I think mental health has become more of an issue because you know, life is changing and growing, and we're, you know, I think about, you know, if you're talking about the let's go to the 1900s, because I don't really know much about 17 or 1800s. The 1900s, where mom and kids and dad worked the farm, worked the whatever, worked the deal, did what they did, fed themselves, right? They had to depend on themselves, right? Was it hard? But they were a unit. They did it together, Then you move on, you know, into, I mean, of course, that's like the early 1900s, but as you move through decades, our world is just changing so fast. And the ability to talk about mental health is there now, right? You only had to go. I didn't have anybody to talk about my feelings when I was a kid. My dad said, you do this, you do it this way, and you do it now. And if you don't do it, then
I'm gonna bust your ass.
You don't get this. I'll bust your ass. You don't get this. Now, not saying that's not the right way to do it.
Yeah, right.
But what did Kelley hear? You know, if you don't do this, you're not good enough. Right? I've been through a lot of therapy. I got my own childhood trauma, and I talk about that in my book too.
Yeah, me too.
You know, and there's a place for it all, I guess. You know, I think there's just an outlet. Social media has made it so much worse because I didn't really know that I needed to talk to anybody. I didn't know it was any different. Now I get to look across the internet and, you know, I get to decide whether people are prettier than me, whether they have more money than me. And I'm talking about if I was a teen, right? Like, I mean, it's just crazy. All the things that our kids, especially, and our teens and our 20-some-year-olds, the pressure on them to be something, and they can't, and the world's too critical if you're not what they think you need to be, right? The world's so critical.
You wrote that just a little bit.
Yes.
Tell me. Okay, so I want to leave that up there for a little bit.
If you don't show appreciation to those that deserve it, they'll learn to stop doing the things you appreciate.
Okay, so when Kelley Earnhardt Miller, when she speaks, I listen. You don't got to name names. When I say things, there's a person that triggered me.
I was triggered. Absolutely. Okay, I was triggered by somebody in my family. and for me to process those thoughts, I needed to put that out there.
Good for you.
I didn't have the ability to put that out there 30 years ago. I didn't have Instagram, you know, like it's a way of processing, right? Like, and it's a way of speaking and, you know, I think talks are healthy. And I think but we're also scared to talk to people. We're also scared to talk to people we love. We're scared to let them down. We're scared to disappoint them. We're scared to be judged, you know, all of those different kinds of things, even with our own family, let alone all the goons that live on social media.